So next to the product information section, we have the photo gallery. So we built this photo gallery before in the CSS section, and we already see that we have a nice hallway effect whenever we mouse over each picture. We could enhance and optimize the web page by allowing some content to show up whenever we mouse over an image, for example. And this can be easily achieved by adding a title attribute to the image element. So let's see how we can do that. We're going to add the title attribute, just like this. And for this first image, what we want to read whenever we mouse over the image is grain filled. Let's do the same now for the rest of the images. So on each line, you're going to add a title attribute and add whichever text you want. It's really up to you. Okay, so back to the browser now, to our web page. We're going to mouse over an image to see how this works. So here it is. We can read that we have a title for each image. That's the first step, and we can certainly do better with the presentation, and for that there is a plugin which is shipped with Bootstrap, and this one is Tooltip.js. So we're going to go read more about Tooltip.js on the Bootstrap site on the JavaScript page. And here we can see that we have 4 examples for the directions, so on the left, top, bottom, and right. Following the example of the plugin popover, we're going to use data attributes, and for this one we're going to use the tooltip action. Also, we can control the placement by using another attribute which is data placement. Then we have an attribute for the title, and this one we already have it. So let's copy this piece of code that we're going to paste in our template inside our images. You're going to paste this information for the data attributes to indicate that this is a tooltip. Finally, to activate the functionality of the tooltip plugin, we need to use some JavaScript. And you need to use this code. For our example, we already have a script ready specific to the tooltip.js. By checking at the bottom of the page, you can see the section for the tooltip.js. I added the options toggle, so it's going to show when you mouse over, and that's going to hide when you mouse out. The tooltip function will fire off when we mouse over an image which is included inside a div with the class of tooltip_demo. This is another step that we'll need to do. So we're going to go back to the markup, so inside the gallery. And here we're going to add the class tooltip-demo. This will allow the function of tooltip to be called whenever we mouse over an image inside the div with the class of tooltip_demo. So let's make a test now. So you can see that for the first image, whenever we mouse over, we can see the tooltip showing. Pretty good. So now we're going to change the position to top. And let's check out. So when we mouse over, here it is, we have our tooltip which is positioned on the top. We're going to now use the same attributes for each image on each row by copying and paste. And for the last row, we're going to change the placement to bottom. So we're going to now review that in the browser on our template. So now we can see that we have our tooltip at the bottom for the second row, and they're placed on the top for the first row. We're going to go back to the Bootstrap documentation in order to see the different options that we have that we can include as part of the function for the tooltip. We can certainly control the placement directly from the JavaScript script. Just like the popover plugin, we can use either data attributes to control the functionality, or we can use some JavaScript. For example, the title, the placement, the trigger, or the delay. The delay, or the amount of time that the tooltip will take to show or hide, can be controlled by using JavaScript or the data attributes directly in the HTML markup. I've tried different solutions, and the best approach was to use the data attributes, so we're going to see that together. So inside the image element, we're going to add another data attribute, which is going to be data delay. You're going to follow with an equal sign, and then you're going to add curly brackets inside single quotes. And then you're going to add the object. We're going to start with show, which is going to be inside double quotes. The colon needs to be outside of the double quotes, so we're going to replace this one and place it outside. And after the colon, you're going to add the value, which is going to be inside a double quote. So that's going to be half of a second. Then you're going to separate with a comma the second object option, which is going to be height. And we're going to add the value of 3 milliseconds, which comes down to 3 seconds. And the result expected is for the tooltip to show up right away when we mouse over the image, and we want the tooltip to take much longer to hide when we mouse out. So we're going to now make a quick demonstration. So the tooltip shows up right away when we mouse over, and then it's going to take another 3 seconds to hide when we mouse out. Back in the source code, we're going to do the exact same for each image by copying the data attributes information for the delay. And this time we're going to make a demonstration for all the images. And we'll see that the tooltip will show up right away as soon as we mouse over, and then it's going to take 3 other seconds to hide.